Hired my first VA. Oh my God. It was all right. And then it was just a nightmare. Hired my second VA, absolute nightmare. I was like, universe, what are you trying to tell me here? Like, this is worse than me having, it's like I have to do everything twice and I have to explain everything twice. It was like doing my head in. And then even hired cleaners at home and stuff like that. And they were like not good either. And I'm like, what am I doing? And I looked at, and this is like the leadership thing. And I had to look at myself instead of blaming everyone else. And I had to look at myself and go, why is this happening in my reality? Like, why am I hiring people that I want support from? And it's just making me like a crazy bitch here. Like, this isn't how I want to be. Like, and I'm like, am I this mean of a person, or are they just really shit at their job? Like, and then I realized that I was sabotaging because I was trying to give people a go that had no experience. I was like trying to be like a savior and like, oh, you lost your job during COVID, I'll hire you, no experience. And I'm expecting them to come in and have, and I'm like, why the fuck aren't they doing their job? So I had to own that. I had to own that I did that. It was my doing. And then I'm like, okay, going forward, I want someone with experience. Ryan's like, okay. I'm like, okay, let's find someone with experience. He's like, yeah, cool, blah, blah, blah. Can we get VAs from Philippines? I'm like, oh, I don't know, like, about that. Anyway, my sister was like, can I have a job? And I was like, no. And then she started kind of getting bullied at work, and I went into like system
Did you
mode.
say no?
Yeah. Initially, I was like, nah, like, I don't know, like, don't hire family, all these stupid rules, business rules that you just should ignore. Anyway, then I heard she was getting bullied at work and she went through a real rough patch, and I was like, big sister mode. I'm like, you're coming here, I'm going to hire you. And Ryan was like, this is not a good idea, because I've had a couple of little fights with her, just sibling fights. She's about 10 years younger than me, by the way. So we're not like super close. Like, whereas my brother and her are really close, they're 2 years apart. I'm like their weird auntie, kind of. I don't even look like them because different dad. I'm like, no. But anyway, so I hired her, and people were like, this isn't a good idea, hire your family, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yes, whatever. Literally, she's been with us for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months now. She's the best fucking thing that's ever happened to our business. Like, she is amazing. She had admin experience. I think because she loves me and she cares about me and she cares about our family and she cares about our business, she actually fucking cares. Like, she just does an amazing job. Like, we're blown away. She thinks ahead, just all of that stuff. So that's like been the best thing that's ever happened. And then going forward, I paid a bit extra, and when we get a gardener or a cleaner or whatever, I make sure they're experienced, and I will pay a bit extra for that. And that's been better, So that, in terms of that leadership, once I own that, it's just, yeah, it shifted so much.
It's huge. A, delegating, and B, how did you find out? So you said you realized that it was creating a lot of drama and you needed to, or that you were self-sabotaging yourself. What was your process to kind of get to that realization?
I was, at the time when I first hired someone, I was really getting into like feminine energetics and leadership, and I can't remember what the book was called, but I was reading about it, and I was really working on not being a bitch, basically. And I was like, how can I just be like a better person? Because both of my role models, my stepmom and my mum was like always screaming at us, and my stepmom was always screaming at my dad, and like, so I have these like, I don't know, the role, like women that couldn't handle their emotions and just projected everything. And so they were my role models. So there's been a lot of like deconditioning of that. And then I went from like being a real lost child, always on my own, very quiet, to now I have a voice, and I would just get really like activated and stuff. And so the girls that were working for me were projecting their stuff onto me, and I feel like, oh my God, I am a bitch, like I'm a narcissist and stuff like that. But it took me hiring the second person to go, hang on a second, why aren't I like this to anyone else? Like, and I just, because I'm like got a very good eye for detail. So if I see something wrong, like I don't want to have to double check people's work 3 times when I tell them to check it 3 times. Like, and I was like, I remember, and we had just hired a nanny as well. And I remember just like, she was in the kitchen She was making us lunch, and I'm just like, is this fucking normal? Like, am I going fucking nuts? Like, is this person like shit, or am I just a bitch? Like, what the fuck? Like, this is like doing my head in. And I just remember I was sitting there and I'm like, I can't be like this in front of my staff. Like, I mean, we love her as a friend. There's like no levels. She's amazing, our nanny. She like full looks after us and Tommy, and she went to school with Ryan, and yeah, she's really spiritual and stuff. Anyway, that's a side note, but yeah, I was just like, she was like, no, that's fine that you feel like that. Like, I would be pissed off too. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, this is just before December, just before Christmas last year. I'm like, I'm going to regret this. I'm going to have to fire her, but I can't do this anymore to either of us, because I was not treating her well. She wasn't happy either. And so I was like, I'm going to regret this because I'm going to have a shit ton of work over Christmas. I have to do it. I have to do what's right for both of us. This isn't fair on both of us. And so I did it, and yeah, and then I just sat with it for a few months, and like, and the other thing was I set them up for failure. It's like I set people up for failure and say, oh, look how shit you are. Like, I actually did that as well. This is all subconscious. Like, I'm owning it. And so when Ryan started doing this business course in January, he's like, we need to set up systems. Like, we need to set up tutorials for them. Like, we need to teach them properly. And I was like, oh, it's the work. That's the best thing ever that we've done. And I think we've made like I don't know how he's done it, like 20 systems, 200 tutorials. Anything that I repeat, I record it on Zoom, make a tutorial, don't have to look at it again. And they can just search it and say, oh, that's how you do that. And they do it. Oh my God, life changing. Yeah, so good.